Good morning, everybody. Welcome to day 6 of Path of Exile 2. Yesterday, we tumbled down the mountain a bit, dying on our level 43 Titan, who I really enjoyed, who was clearing the game super easily, was mega tanking everything, could just stand in whatever, and just didn't matter, and he was immune to damage, and it was kind of awesome playing. He died to some just incredibly unfair game mechanics in the second ascension. And we are now back climbing the mountain once again on a witch this time. We are going an infernalist spellcaster kind of thing. I'll get into exactly what my plans are here. We'll do a little bit more of a character overview than some of the last vids because I kind of want to show off some of the combos we got cooking with this character, and also just as a way to refresh myself before we get into the deep of Act 3. But anyway, let's start from the beginning of yesterday, see exactly how we recovered from our devastating loss of our beloved warrior yesterday. So we're just gonna cut straight to the Act 1 boss fight. Yeah, we've just been doing very basic witch things for the most part. Hey, summoning some minions. We have some damage over time, debuff that we can put on bosses. Casting ED for some more chaos damage. Just classic witch things. And the main combo actually that I like pulling off on this character, and you'll be able to see a little bit, is you see my bar, like my Q and middle mouse button. So the Q is the option for those skeletal archers. You can see them over here on the right hand side of my screen. So the skeleton archers, you can make them cast a gas cloud, and then you can then explode that gas cloud with some kind of fire spell or detonation ability, whatever. So I thought like the cool fun combo, you see I just did it there, is where I'll either, I'm not sure really the order matters. I was kind of doing both, feeling whatever kind of felt right, but I would either throw the gas cloud down, then explode it with the ring of fire, or I would just put a ring of fire down and then explode it and then cast the gas cloud. And you can see it's pretty effective. Boss is dying, but it's hard to know how much of that is this combo thing that we're doing versus just the basic auto attacks of the skeletal minions. And even if the combo was working, it's not like it's doing that much damage, so it doesn't feel great. Luckily the boss, we're well versed at this boss fight at this point. I think this is our 4th time. Really? Yeah, this is our 4th time in Act 2 so far. So we've been through this boss fight a lot. I'm not that scared of the mechanics, and I'm pretty sure as long as I don't get one-shotted by anything, which I know this boss can't do it. How do I die? So even though this is kind of brutal, easy, I do the combo, it does a little bit of chunk, but not enough chunk to really make it anything worth writing home about. So you see, just standard witch things. All right, we do the fight. Yeah, we get to Act 2, and once we get to Act 2, I'm really starting to not enjoy this build. You could probably pick it up on this boss fight, but things are dying so slow. The gameplay itself doesn't feel that spectacular. And so in my head, and you guys remember from the first video, I have a really deep affinity for cold things and cold spells. I think that's a cool archetype. And so I'm okay, we're in Act 2. I have a bunch of support gems and skill gems in the bank. I'm gonna shoot full respec from Minion Cuck into Ice Witch, and now the new ability that I wasn't able to play around with last time when I tried cold stuff with Cold Snap. So I'm okay, maybe Cold Snap is gonna make this stuff feel better. So we're back to trying this frostball meme and exploding them with cold snaps, and it just immediately feels so clunky. Okay, so I mean, this is just, you can see on my screen just how bad this gameplay looks. It's a struggle. I'll make you suffer through just fruit clips of me trying to figure out how to do this spell things. It's hard, man. And it's not clear to me they're supposed to use Ice Nova anyway. I did use Ice Nova for a bit just to try it out, and again it felt no damage. So it felt horrible, moving from a minion build that did no damage to this ice thing that did no damage. So I was honestly on a little bit of a struggle bus here. at the beginning of Act 2, just like really not enjoying this character that we ended up with, and like again, really regretting the fact that we died on this Titan that I was really enjoying. And I'm thinking to myself, I should just quit this and reroll a melee again. This is miserable. So anyway, we try this. I mean, this is just, yeah, this sucks. I hate this. This does nothing for me. It's just too clunky. I do think there's a future in this. Like, I can see how the damage and combo is real, but until something is automated or there's a little bit more trigger happening things, this is just unplayable. Like, yeah, you can't play like that. So anyway, my stream gets split up into a few different clips. So I don't know why, but it happened. So anyway, we're back, and I'm like, okay, I'm off the cold stuff. Let's try lightning. I see arc and like one of the gem skills. If you've played PoE 1, you know arc is like the most comfiest spell. Like if you need a spell that just like does generic damage and is pretty good at clearing, it's like arc is just the generic spell that like works. So here we are, we're going arc.
Oh, it's this boss. He's terrifying.
Yeah, just to like, sorry, still play with a few friends in Discord every now and then. And just to hopefully he's gonna feel better. Like I'm very much hopeful that I'm feeling better. And okay, we go over against our first pack with arc, and it's like, okay, it's not bad. We're actually killing mobs, and mobs are dying on our screen, and all we're doing is holding down right click. Feels pretty comfy. Feels like I'm like, okay, I get it. Okay, you hold down the right button, it does damage. Got it. And then over time, or I guess I do this real quick, and I go back to town, pick up that Orb of Storms ability, and it's like, oh man, you put down this little orb, then you cast arc, and then like boom, you got lightning shit going on all over your screen. It's like clearing like entire, like look at this, like look how comfy this is compared to the ice stuff. You just put down a little orb and you just hold down right click. In my head that looked like, I mean, it still looks pretty slow, not gonna lie, but hey, it's clearing the map, it's doing damage. It actually feels really good at this point, especially struggling on like the minion and cold witcher a bit. So this feels great. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna send it on the lightning witch, and in my head it's like, okay, I'm gonna do like the elemental damage ascendancy, get like just generic, I'm just gonna be a generic lightning witch, right? How bad can it be? And we're gonna shock things and do damage with arc. Like it seems simple enough. We go to the boss fight. This is the first boss is the lightning witch, and the damage is the damage isn't great, and our survivability isn't great. So it's, oh fuck, I realized you couldn't see me. All right. So anyway, I'm up here. We're doing damage. Like things are happening. The boss is dying, even though we still feel a little bit squishy and whatnot. It's okay. You get little ads. Yeah, the ads die. You get just holding down right click. It's a little sketch, but things are dying on my screen. You just gotta lock in and be a god gamer, and I'm pretty sure we can kill with this build. So, not feeling great about the build at this point, as you could tell. But we're in there, freezing bosses with arc somehow. Oh, because we're anyway. That's the thing. All right, moving on to the next thing that happened. So I'm starting to get the hang of this, and I'm enjoying the lightning playstyle a bit more. Making our way through Act 2 now that we actually have abilities that do something. Let's see, why did I do this? What's happening here? Okay, but then we clearly hit a wall in like level 21. These level 21 zones where it's like you get like, I am no longer doing damage to bosses. Like, look out. I'm holding down my button here. The boss bar is not moving. Like, look at that. I am trying to do damage. The bar is just not moving. So, yeah, we're identifying some problems with the Lightning Witch Dream here now. And granted, I have like no damage on the passive tree. I'll show you what we're doing on the passive tree. So it's a little bit cooked of a tree like that. You probably should have more damage on the tree at this point, but yeah, so I mean, this feels a little, again, I'm a little bit struggling, and especially compared to the melee at this point, which was so simple because I understood how melee worked in order to get more power. It's like you just upgrade your weapon. If you have a better weapon, you're gonna be fine. You're gonna do a lot of damage. Things are gonna die on your screen as long as you have a good weapon. Like, and even though my weapons completely suck as a witch, like this is some blue staff thing that I just randomly tried to buy from the vendor. It's ooh, unique. It sucks. It's Crown of Thorns. It's total trash unique. So yeah, we're clearly struggling, and I need I'm realizing that I need to fix something because this is not playable, and I'm gonna die if this is the kind of damage that we're dealing with. Just another example of just how miserable this is. Like, yo, we're in this Keth zone, just like trying to clear these. Like, look how miserable this is. I can't even kill the little beetles. We're doing no damage, absolutely no damage. So it's like a little miserable. However, we do figure things out. We do kind of solve this. It's like so rippy. I think I might log here. Like, I cannot clear the screen of mobs. It's so cringe. Yeah, I think we had a do clear, but anyway, dude, yeah. So pretty rough build at this point. Not particularly enjoying this or feeling particularly strong. So anyway, you know, we end up grinding for a bit more, and you know, I spent some time in my favorite zone ever. This sacred burial sacred, something like that. You know, the zone next to the Kith where it has that sarcophagus that you click, and all the soldiers are up here. Yeah, it's on. And then you'll see on my bars here, we've added some things. So first off, we got a curse. So we got conductivity. Again, not a big fan of curses for two things. One thing, they're much harder to land in this game than PoE1. They have like an area of effect that they leave on the ground that elapses after like a half a second, and you have to make sure the enemies land within that half second in order for them to actually be cursed. So it's not like an instant thing where you just cast it and they're cursed. It's like a skill shot that you have to land. So like, that's not cool. And then the second thing that kind of sucks about curses is that they take up like my entire mana pool when I want to use them. So anyway, I'm not a big fan of these curses, and they kind of end up screwing me on some of the bosses later, but I'll show you that later. But anyway, so we got a curse, that's E. On Q, we've got Detonate Dead. Detonate Dead, if you played PoE1, like the classic, like overpowered ability where it's like you just click it and then like your entire screen is dead and everything is dead. So I'm just like, okay, maybe Detonate Dead is gonna help. Like, I'm gonna tap into the OP spells from PoE1, from PoE past, and hopefully that will you know, help us figure out some of those clear speed issues. And the other thing that's huge that I actually is probably one of my favorite abilities in the game is Frost Bomb. It's really satisfying to use, and like when you have the little tick on enemies, especially on bosses, you're like freezing them, and it feels really good. So with Detonate Dead, cursing, and Frost Bomb now unlocked as part of the combo, it's starting to feel a little bit better. Like, we're actually starting to like actually engage with mobs, and as like evidence of that, you know, we'd actually like even do this thing, which at the time was like really rippy to me. It's like we could do the sarcophagus thing, like this shit. You can see, right, we're locked in, but like we can actually do it. And again, if you remember how easy this was on the melee character, where you just like swing your mace and the entire screen would just die in one swing, versus this where you're just kind of panicking, holding down, right? Oh, but you know, okay, things are dying, you're doing the job. Lightning witch, everybody. Here we go. This is the gameplay. So after I clear this zone for, you know, I get to about level 30, just doing this for a few hours. We get to, I think we just go straight to our ascendancy. Yes, we do our ascendancy again. Like, it's so crazy to me how easy this ascend is, and then the next ascend is just unfair. So that's a wild balance thing. But anyway, we get through this ascendancy. And I realized I kind of like made a mistake on character creation. And if you've like been hearing me talk, you've been hearing me like, oh, like, okay, you want to make like an elemental caster person. Well, then why'd you pick witch? Because the elemental, so yeah, we do the boss. The boss is easy at this point, like whatever, you just log in, kill the boss, dude. I mean, it's easy. So you're probably thinking to yourself, if you actually played the game, like, oh, you want to do, why aren't you a sorcerer? Well, okay, you have to understand, I have like 10,000 hours in PoE 1. So like when my brain is on the character correct select screen, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, I want to do like magic damage, elemental stuff, I pick witch. I don't realize that there is another archetype of person I should have been clicking, which is the sorcerer, if I was supposed to do like elemental stuff. So, and this is like the minion character. So I didn't know that all throughout this playthrough, like all throughout this, I thought I was playing a sorcerer, but I guess I was playing a witch. Beyond me. But anyway, you'll see like as I'm like kind of surprised as I get to like the ascendancies. I'm like, wait, hold up. You see my face? Hold up. Hold up, bro. I'm like, wait, where's like the Stormweaver thing? Because I knew that was in the game. I was like, okay, I was looking for the Stormweaver thing. I'm like, whoa, wait up, hold up. So anyway, I'll walk you through eventually what I made, but yeah, mistakes were made, but and I'm honestly fine. Like I actually think that now we unintentionally made the absolute correct decision of rolling a witch over Stormweaver, and so we end up going infernalist for the survivability stuff, because I think infernalist can end up being incredibly tanky. And that's the goal whenever I make hardcore characters, like how can we make it as tanky as possible. So I'm a little bit sad at the time, like kind of perplexed that I screwed up that bad. But anyway, that's pretty funny. So okay, we get the bosses post ascendancy, and like at this point the character's feeling really good. Like look at these bosses just absolutely melt. Like when they stack on top of each other, you're able to land like both frost bombs at the same time inside the orb of storms while you're casting arc, while they're cursed with conductivity, and it's actually like, okay, hey, we're doing damage. You know, bosses are dying on our screen. You know, there's like a lot of things happening, and we're still just effectively trying to face tank every mechanic. But hey, look, we're also doing damage now. That's pretty satisfying when they're stacked like that. That's pretty cool. So hey, we're making our way through Act 2, you know, doing the bosses. Let's see. We end up running into, I start realizing a very specific issue that was not a thing on some of the melee guys that I was running into, because I guess my main attack was auto attack for all of my melee characters, but that's mana. So this is the first time where I ended up like actually bricking my mana. So you'll see I have one more mana flash charge left. I have one more pot charge left, and I'm completely out of mana. And at this point, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. It's like, okay, I'm out of mana. Back in PoE 1, you know, you just go to town, right? You just go to town, like refill your flasks, like it's no big deal. Like running out of mana was not an issue on boss fights like this. But I'm literally I can't cast my spells, and I'm like, I have one ability on my wand that I never use, just like Volatile Dead, and I think it's like free. So I'm just like trying to cast whatever spells I can while my character's completely without any flash charges, and I'm actually starting to get a little panicky. Like it's a little bit fucked. I'm using this F ability. Oh my god, dude.
Possibly my largest victim.
So yeah, we start realizing like, okay, this is gonna be an issue we need to solve. That was not an issue at all on any of our other characters. So that was kind of interesting, and comes up to a little bit bite us in our ass when we try the Act 2 boss fight. So we get all the way up to the Act 2 final boss fight yesterday, and here we are again. Same situation as the last fight, where look, we're killing the boss. Like boss is dying on our screen, and I'm not scared of dying. Like, we have full life flasks. But it's the mana that's the problem, and I just run out of I run out of mana resource, and it's like, and now I have to make a decision of, I mean, am I gonna auto attack this boss down to death from like, 2/5 left? That just sounds horrible. So I'm just sitting there, be like, okay, like, I'm just gonna reset the fight and try to conserve my mana better. And then this is also pretty fun. I don't really realize how the logout mechanics work. So I try to exit the screen and I'm like, I'm back in the fight, and you see me like jump. I'm like, wait, what the fuck? I thought I was out. So I don't necessarily fully realize still how a lot of these logout stuff interacts with one another. We'll get there. Trust me, we'll be a professional logout player soon. So yeah, all right. I'm like, okay, I need to fix some mana. I think what I end up doing is I end up putting like clarity in one of the spirit auras that I was using, like Arctic Armor or something like that. But honestly, the biggest thing that I just started doing in the next boss fight was like, I just stopped cursing. It was very clear to me that cursing was the thing that was just eating up all my mana. And so, and it felt like bad that I didn't want to curse a boss, because if I cursed a boss, it meant I go, ooh, and I have no mana to cast my spells to kill the boss. So it's like the spell I want to use to make myself do more damage, I don't want to cast it because it'll eat up all my mana, so I can't do damage. So again, cursing just doesn't feel good. Not sure if I'm just doing something wrong there with curses, but hey, look at us figuring out how to do the sand mechanic. It's actually kind of scary. Like this ad phase, again, my damage is a little bit problematic here. We're not doing much damage versus boss, like, at all. Which I guess makes sense. Like, I think he is probably like a lightning resistance boss, I guess, because he has lightning damage. But anyway, so anyway, we fix our mana. We kill the boss. Yeah, we could just like face tank all the mechanics, so it's not a big issue. Okay, and now that puts us back where we are today in Act 3. So I just want to walk you through a little bit kind of how I'm thinking about this character right now, and future plans for popping it off. So let's just walk you through the gameplay, because I want to show off this new ability we got. So the one ability you didn't see on the screen there that I got once we started getting to Act 3 and unlock the next tier of gems. So like we're in the I haven't done anything in Act 3. Right? I'm in the first zone as soon as you enter the act. That's how much I've progressed. But I had a lot of just skill gems in my bank, so we start unlocking these things. And now let's take a look at this gameplay now that we unlock this lightning warp ability. So like how this ability interacts is when mobs are in culling like health range. So when mobs are close to dead, they'll have like a little orb that appears next to their model or whatever, and you click it, and your character will like, it's like Flicker Strike from PoE 1 days, if you know what I'm talking about. So boom, that. Okay, you might not see it there, but okay, we'll do it. Okay, I missed. Didn't do it there either. Let's see. Trying to find big pack of mobs, and you'll be able to very clearly see what I'm talking about. And at this point, I'm actually like very much so enjoying this character. All right, so you can see boom, 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 boom. Yeah, all right, so you can see like that little teleport ability where it's like I go and my character will like emit a little aura of
I need more time.
Things and like clear the screen. Like let's try to get it to proc on these guys like this. So that's incredibly satisfying. Look at here. And I'm really enjoying this kind of gameplay. And let me walk you through some of the items I have, because these are probably, like, as you can tell, it's a little bit, I don't know if this is, but I'm just gonna say it's impressive for a witch to have this much life and survivability at level 35. I'm not sure there are many witches with this amount of survivability in solo self and Alucard at this point in the game. Part of that reason is my gear is kind of cracked, and some of this gear is gear that I've saved from my last playthrough and now are able to finally use some good use. So let's get through it. So this helmet, insane. I think I just found this natty, like this is just a natty rare drop, and it originally just had that life roll, 84 life, but look at that, actually 95 life, because it has 2 life, it has the T2 hybrid armor life roll, and then just the T6 flat life roll. So this helmet's got 95 life on it at level 35. So that's insane. So it's an insane, and it also has 268 armor. So this is a 95 life helm with 268 armor and lightning resist with regen and crit. All 3 of, like, every single one of these stats is like a perfect stat. Life regen is probably the worst stat, but like it's still life regen, which is like very comfy, and I'm cool with life regen. So insane helmet, cracked gear, and I put a little fire resist in there. Sick helmet. My chest is honestly probably one of like the more mid pieces that I have. I just before I logged off last night, I dropped an exalt. We slammed that % armor roll. That was pretty cool. So it's pretty funny. Like, our helmet has more armor than our chest. You can also see I qualified this bad boy up because I'm like, I'm never replacing this helmet. So even though the armor is a little bit lower on this chest, it's got, a decent amount of res. I mean, it's not a lot to write home about, but that's a pretty nice life roll, and it's armor based, which is fine. It's kind of what I'm looking for. So it's aight. It's aight chest. These gloves, pretty crash gloves. I still want to hit these with an exalt to hopefully get some kind of like armor roll. That would be great. But you see just very fat res on these. 6 lightning, but 20 fire, strength for even more life. So these are just like huge life gloves with big resist. So really good piece of gear there. This belt is cracked. I ended up, this is an alch orb, and originally the only good stat on this, so it was, I alched it, I got 5 mods. Originally the only good roll was a life mod. It had like 46 life, and that was it. It was a belt with 46 life and just all shit mobs. And then I was like, okay, this is the best base type of belt that I want. I've never really fucked around with chaos orbs, so let me just start hitting this with chaos orbs. Bam, I hit it with my first chaos orb. It upgraded the life roll. Originally it had like 30 life. Boom, now I had 56 life, but still all shit stats. So I was like, okay, cool. Let me hit it with another chaos orb. Boom, I hit it, I get cold res. And I'm like pogging out. And I pretty much didn't touch it since, but I mean, it's an armor belt with big life, cold res, and like the charm stuff is whatever, and the stun threshold is whatever. But just the fact that it has 56 life and some res and the implicit armor roll is nice. So I'm pretty happy with this belt. Pretty good belt. Insane boots, like insane boots. Life, armor, move speed, res, and regen. Like insane. I mean, it just sucks at the res rolls and the absolute size of these rolls isn't very good, but this is like the exact item you want. Just insane gear so far. And then we ended up crafting this. So this was a blue ring with just that life roll and like life regen, and then we regaled like cold res, and then went slam and bricked on the regen and mana regen. But just the fact that this ring alone has 64 life and just an additional resistance, just huge ring. Life is so big. Another like okay ring, this is the ring that gets swapped out for a lot of other stuff when I'm playing. But hey, it's got some life. It's got cold res. You see, I kind of need the cold res, so it's fine. Big amulet. Honestly, this amulet was a lot better earlier on in the game. Again, kind of one of those pieces that at this point I'm kind of looking to upgrade, but it's still sufficient. The attributes, so the +7 all attributes, as well as just the flat dex itself, is really, really nice. And offers a lot of utility. Like you'll see, I have a lot of like green gems and things, so I need dex for that. I need dex for these gloves, which are really good. So the dex is relevant, and I do need it for just my character. So that's why this base type is good. And then it just has life and lightning res. It's fine. +1 level to all spell skills. Not sure how relevant that is. Again, like from a damage point of view, like is that giving me 5% more damage? Is it giving me 15% more damage? Is it giving me 25% more damage? I really have no idea how relevant that +1 level is, but it's nice. It's better to have it not. So cool, chilling. And then this unique shield, I really enjoy, and I think it's great. I haven't had too many other shields to compare it to, so I really don't know what the absolute power level of the shield is, but from a hardcore perspective, I just see 20 chaos res and I'm like, okay, that's viable. Like, it doesn't matter anything else about this item, just the fact that it has 20 chaos res on it makes it good. And okay, so it has just 90 chaos res, and then it has like 60% increased block. So just the base implicit is like 39% chance to block. So I'm just walking around with like 39 block chance, which is like, that's a lot of mitigation if you think about it. It's like, if you think about it, every enemy is flipping a coin when they attack me, and half of the time, well, you know, a little bit under half the time, or pretty much significantly under half the time, they're just not going to hit me. So that's big. So the block is actually hugely relevant. So the chaos res, the block is really nice. The 50 to spirit is cool. Now my spirit gems aren't really the most effective things I got going for me. I'm using like Arctic Armor and Grim Feast. I'll explain why I like the Arctic Armor a bit, and that's being socketed with Clarity, taking up a little bit more spirit. But you see, like, I'm not even min-maxing spirit right now. I have like 10 to spare. I was playing around this cast on shock thing. I think you need a lot more skill gems to make this viable right now. It's like way too slow for any effectiveness, but that's interesting to me later on in the game. I could see the cast on shock being very effective. But right now we're just rocking like Arctic Armor and Grim Feast. The Grim Feast is actually really cool. Even though I have like 25 energy shield, it's actually like a really nice recovery mechanic. And the only energy shield is coming from the shield, like the shield I have. And it's surprisingly nice. It's like I've surprisingly gotten, it feels like a lot of just like recovery and smoothness of gameplay due to this, even though I just have like absolutely no energy shield, which is interesting. Okay, so that's my character. We'll see what's going on with the passage tree real quick. So we'll just start with the ascendancy. So again, originally I thought I was gonna be like a witch, like a sorceress, elementalist witch. Oops! Like, pick the wrong character. What are you gonna do? You live and you learn. But we ended up here, and this is super interesting because 20% of damage from hits is taken from your, like, that's huge. I mean, that's essentially like plus 20% life, so, which is more effective than the Titan plus 15% more just life node. However, this is finicky, and I don't have, because I'm not really investing in minion stuff on the tree, I'm not really maximizing the value I'm getting from this node, because the thing doesn't really survive that long, and I do socket it with meat shield and elemental army just to try to make it a little bit tankier, but it still dies a lot, and it's not like a flat less 20% damage taken. It's like half the time I take 20% less damage, which is okay. It's fine. It's good enough for an ascendancy. It's not useless. And so it was not the thing that I'm really like that happy about, but it's cool. It's a thing. It exists. This is a thing that's sick. This ascendancy got me really going for multiple reasons. Like, first off, the 20%. So the top two and then the bottom one's a little bit different. So the top two is huge. So like how a lot of this stuff works, and like, and if you weren't like a big PoE1 gamer, especially on like the hardcore side of things, you might not understand like how powerful this is. But why this stuff is so significant is because in PoE, whenever you're splitting the damage of something, you're making it so it's dealing independently less damage as an absolute sum, and instead having that absolute damage be split up into smaller chunks that your character is taking. And when your character is taking smaller chunks of damage versus just an absolute big singular damage. So instead of taking, let's say you have, like, you're gonna get a monster's gonna attack you with 100 fire damage. Well, that 100 fire damage is gonna do a lot. Well, it would do less if that 100 fire damage instead was 50 cold and 50 fire, because then your cold resistance is 50% of that is being mitigated by whatever, supposedly 75% of your cold, and then the other 50 is being mitigated by the additional 75% of your fire res. So by being able to split damage sources, you're getting additional mitigation on it, and you're not taking like your one big hit, which is how most characters die in PoE, because they're just taking one big hit of a singular source of damage. I probably didn't explain that totally correctly, but the moral of the story is that splitting damage in PoE is just incredibly effective. If you ever played Souls games, actually, it's probably a good thing where it's like, this is why in Souls games, you never really wanted to use hybrid weapon sources. You always wanted to find like the big dick fizz weapon, or if you want to just specialize in like magic damage. And that same principle applies here. You don't want to be splitting damage type, because once you split damage type, then you're going to get additional layers of mitigation affecting your character. So really kind of important characters there. And then, so that's just on the elemental side, the cold and lightning damage taken as fire. This is actually huge. Like 20% of fizz taken as chaos. Like obviously chaos damage is scary, but theoretically you're going to be able to max out chaos resistance, and fizz damage is traditionally the most scary source of damage in the game, because it's just hard to like armor is not that. It's hard to get a lot of armor on a lot of characters, and that's kind of the only real way to dealing with the big physical hits, other than doing something like this, which is splitting the damage and making it something else. And so physical damage is traditionally like an incredibly rippy source of damage, and so being able to split it, and so you ended up taking less absolute chunks of big physical hits, is a huge case of survivability. And so this node is really exciting, and something that I'm really looking forward to kind of building the character around, especially because there's nodes like this exist in the game, which is like, okay, so now fizz hits are being applied to fire damage too. So I'm just going to be taking a lot of things as fire damage, and I imagine I could be doing things like, making my max fire res super high. And so I imagine we're going to have huge defensive options because of this node. And I'm actually pretty excited to play out this ascendancy just because of these options. And even though we ended up with like the suboptimal route, I'm actually still very excited about the future of this character, even that we're not going like a minion archetype, which is I guess what this ascendancy was originally made for. I'm just using this to like tank big damage, which is classic hardcore. And on the tree, what really got me going originally is, again, my PoE 1 mindset is like, I want to survive. We're playing hardcore, right? It's about surviving. Like max res is so important. Like I can't not get this node. There's no world that you can roll a character and max res isn't going to be good. So I'm like, okay, how do I get here like efficiently as possible? And actually going through this Templar area, I mean, these are pretty cool nodes. Like 20% increased life regen, 5% damage taken recoup. Like that's really convenient. That's a really great, like that effectively fixes your recovery so that just walking around the map feels good. So that's a big node. These are just generically good nodes for us. Like just a little bit more life regens, 5 strength, 10 int. This is just more damage, more crit chance. So I felt like it was a good use of our time, and I'm really trying to prioritize strength as much as possible, because when you're deciding which attribute you want to scale or want to have the most of, I'm looking at, okay, every 1 point to create 5 accuracy. Do I care about accuracy? No. Int. Do I care about mana? Look, there could be some very interesting like mind over mana stuff. Like, so I might care about mana, but right now, do I care about mana? Not really. Strength. 1 strength. Life? Do I care about life? Hell yes, I care about life. So I kind of just try to take strength whenever I can. I needed this just for like the gems and some of the gear, and then I needed some more int just so I could equip the higher level spells that I've been using. But I'm really trying to get just strength whenever I can. And look, that's my character. Oh, and the last thing, I'm trying out this stuff. So the Hellhound that I have is igniting things, and then I'm using Arctic armor and the Frost Bomb, which is chilling things. So in my head, it's like, okay, all bosses are getting chilled, ignited, and shocked. And so I'm trying to kind of get max value from these things, which is, hey, 30% increased damage to shocked enemies, 30% increased damage to ignited enemies, 30%. And so this felt like a cool thing to try to go for while also kind of beelining for the survivability stuff. And so a lot of my damage is just coming from this part of the tree right now, which seems fine. You know, things are dying on my screen and the gameplay is pretty fun. So I'm enjoying this character. We're going to do kind of a lot of farming just in this zone to get our character up to snuff. We're going to clear Act 3. We're going to get to Cruel. I don't know when we're going to ascend. I'm probably going to get to Cruel before we ascend because fuck that ascendancy, man. I mean, who wants to do that again? Not me. So we'll figure that out. But hey, if you would like to see exactly what we get up to today and you'd like to be part of our journey and want to just hang out and keep me some company, I'll be live, twitch.tv, Heartache. Be there. Thank you for tuning in. Much love, guys. Peace.